welcome to the Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy Holistic Spiritual Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Beverly. Today, our wonderful guest is Nada Mesqui. Have I said that right?
So
She
right.
is an, pardon?
So right.
All right. Oh, good. She is an embodiment and leadership coach. She's the founder of the Raindrop Movement, a holistic healing movement practice that helps women reconnect to the fullness of their feminine body. A recovering do-it-all that has found the recipe for a life of ease and flow. She offers private mentoring and coaching certification for soul-led female leaders, coaches, and holistic practitioners who want to embrace more body wisdom in their life and practice, and probably anyone who wants to have more flow in their life, not just coaches and what have you. So welcome, Nada. Tell us about your transformational story, how you got started with all of this.
Oh, thank you, Beverly, for that extensive, beautiful intro. I really appreciate it, and I'm so grateful to be here. Um, I guess like pretty much any transformational journey, my journey began when I hit rock bottom, or what I experienced as a rock bottom at the time. I was in my early 30s, a young mom of two boys, working a really demanding corporate job, and just trying to really do it all in the most traditional sense of that word. And I hit chronic burnout and really struggled getting back to my usual sense of, energy and life force. And I realized that our system, our medical system, was not really giving me the adequate, long-lasting support that I needed. The support pretty much came down to a few sessions of talk therapy and a few sleeping pills. And yes, that only did so much. And so that kind of marked my extensive journey into the deeper understanding of how we function, not just as women, but as human beings, as soul embodied. And that led me on a beautiful exploration of somatics and neuroscience and energy work and leadership coaching and mindset work, and all those things kind of combined together make Raindrop Movement what the Raindrop Movement is, which is this holistic approach to really redefining the relationship we have, not just with our physical body, but with all of our bodies, the mental, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual body.
Yes, it's all important. So
Yes.
tell us how the name Raindrop came about.
Uh, it's really interesting. Everybody asked me that question. It came to me in one of my meditations. And I've learned in my own journey that, those types of downloads, when they come, they usually come for a reason. So I just trusted it and went with it. And only after a few deeper explorations and after people started asking me that precise question, did I actually start reflecting, what's really behind that for me, for me personally? And there's so much, honestly. Like when I look at the rain falling, when I really am present with that movement, I can see that each raindrop has a different speed, has a different shape, and yet each raindrops meet that specific piece of soil or that specific leaf or gives food to that specific little animal. And so even if we are as insignificant as a little raindrop, we can literally mean the difference between life and death to something or someone. And there's so much power in all of us. And there's this beautiful reminder that we are all unique and all different exactly as we need to be. And so the metaphorical meaning behind it is really the essence of the movement itself, because it's not about a choreography and everybody following the same steps. No, it's about finding that internal movement from the inside out and allowing your body to move in those most intuitive, free ways that allow you to release what your bodies need to release in that moment.
Mm.
And everybody can do it, right? It's not a dance, there's no structure to it. I'm just there to guide with specific invitations, so to say, but it's really a beautiful modality where everybody can find their own way of expression.
And rain is water, and water is the most healing of all elements, including the mind and the body and the aura.
There
And
you go.
isn't nada, doesn't that mean raindrop?
Yeah, so a couple of years into my practice, one of my dear colleagues who speaks Arab told me, but did you know that it actually means raindrop in our language? Your name Nada means raindrop, and I just thought that was such a beautiful synchronicity, another confirmation. Okay.
Well, that's always wonderful to find out something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
So, tell us more about how that works. So, you're talking about movement and free form. What does that mean exactly?
So I've really try to combine all the different modalities that have helped me in my journey of recovery, basically, into a beautiful arc of just one session. And what that means is that each session starts with a principle of slowing down. And it's a principle that I've learned through studying neuroscience and nervous system regulation that basically teaches us, in order for our system, our nervous system, to be able to listen internally to those emotions, energy, emotions, sensations, feelings, we need to be in a specific state of our nervous system, the parasympathetic, relaxed nervous system, where we are able to hear. And so each session starts with specific practices of somatic awareness and nervous system regulation so that we can kind of relax into that place where we can open ourselves to listening. And so from there, then we actually dive deeper into what am I listening for? And we start moving in ways that evoke either some deep, thoughts or emotions or visuals or memories or simply physical sensations of energy passing through our body so that we can get in touch with those deeper, more subtle layers of our internal landscape that either need to be embraced, that either need to be released, that either need to be just processed, digested through our system. And we just create space for that to happen organically without too much intellectualizing and processing with our thinking mind, because we do that so much in everyday life, right? And so from that place where we can connect to something deeper, something that oftentimes is almost subconscious to our thinking mind, we can then surrender to it and we can really move through it, because everything, whether it's a thought or an emotion or sensation, is just energy wanting to move through us.
Mhm.
And we do that basically in a beautiful, seamless arc of 60 minutes together.
Nice. And that'll help with PTSD and deep trauma as well, right?
Well, yes, there's a lot of research coming out and proving to us that a lot of these PTSDs and other Ds, not all of them, right? They're not all under the same umbrella, but a lot of the symptoms that we often had, that there's some kind of lack of ease in our body. And it could be, again, mental body, emotional body, physical body, is really coming from our inability to process a certain traumatic experience in our life. So when that happens and we're not able to process it, to share it with somebody, to literally shake it off like animals do, it gets stored in our body, right? And it becomes this frozen little tension point that simply it is not simple and it is not easy, but it can be done so beautifully through movement, where we kind of let go of those narratives and stories and all those attachment that we have with the experience, and we just allow our body to go through the natural completion process that it never got to do, right? So movement is really a beautiful way to do that, along with many other modalities that are out there. That just happens to be what I found the fastest, the gentlest, and most efficient.
Gentle is important. If
Yes,
someone's
gentle
already
is very
traumatized,
important.
they don't need more trauma or to relive it over and over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And this is why this initial step in this modality is truly unique, because there's a lot of beautiful, beautiful modalities that I myself have been a student and a teacher of prior to Raindrop Movement that help us release and help us surrender to that beautiful, Kundalini energy in us, but they lack the step of safety, right? The step of actually orienting our nervous system in a place where we are able to then have that experience in a way that's not re-traumatizing potentially our nervous system. And
Mhm.
so that was really important to me to create a space where we can do it with integrity and in consciousness with what science and spirituality are telling us. We need to find safety within our bodies for them to be able to process information
And
and
release
trauma.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, earlier you were talking about somatic healing. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. And it's basically really connected to everything that I just shared. It's somatic healing has at its foundation the belief that the body has this immense capacity to self-heal, right?
Yeah.
And that's really what I've encountered over and over again. Body has this incredible desire and longing to continuously return to a state of balance and harmony. However, if we are disconnected from our bodies, which most of us in today's world are, we simply do not give our body the chance to do what our body naturally wants to do. And so through somatics, what we are doing is we are kind of reconnecting and creating those mind-body pathways again, so that we can feel again, so that we can sense again, and so that we can follow that a little bit more easily.
And how do you think that relates to women today?
Oh, so many ways. In so many ways. I mean, the most impactful way in which it is crucial for women today is because women, simply by being born at the time that we were born, which is still a time of a very toxic masculinity in many ways. I'm just going to say it, teaches us that we are unsafe. And on top of that, what we now know through the immense body of research that's coming out thanks to the field of epigenetics, we know that we carry those traumas, those big woundings from our feminine lineage in our system, in our body as well. And so even if I myself have never really experienced being unsafe in this world simply because I was a woman, my mother has. My grandmother for sure has. In fact, she was reminded daily that she's unworthy simply because she was born a girl, right? And so that lives in me too. And it is so important that we reconnect to that, to those pieces of us that feel unworthy or not enough for no apparent reason, because we have the proof that we indeed are, but on a subconscious level, we carry those imprints. And so that's, I mean, for me, that was the really big piece of information that landed so deeply. And I see that in every single one of my clients, because I have yet to work with a woman who does not carry a wound of not enoughness and unworthiness on some level of her being. So just knowing it is not all yours, and it is certainly not just in your head,
Yeah.
it is actually
Yeah, it's in the
imprinted
body.
in your
Yeah.
body was so hugely relieving and helpful. And then, I mean, there's many different layers to that, but everything really for me started with that deep understanding. Another thing that might be really relevant specifically for women, because I see a lot of my clients are going through that challenge, is the fact that because we live mainly from the waist up, meaning our lifestyle is sedentary, meaning our energy is mainly focused on our thinking and on our processing and on our doing, right? All energy goes up and front. There's a huge lack of life force happening in our lower body. And how that manifests for my clients and for how that manifested for me is through hormonal disbalance, reproductive issues, endometriosis, cysts, all these ways of our body telling us, I'm deprived of something. And it's happening in that region, right? So with movement, we really try to bring awareness to those parts, to send them loving attention, to create more flow and more energy for those parts who are also, I mean, just by the way, crucial parts of feminine power. This is where everything happens from ovulation, menstruation, creativity, birth. Pleasure, passion, everything lives in those lower body areas for us. So these are the ways that it is absolutely essential for women to get back in their bodies.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Mm.
When patients come in, the first thing I have to do is I look, or you're not in your body, I have to get them in their body, and then I have to get them in parasympathetic because they come in stressed out and in sympathetic. So,
Exactly.
yeah, those are two crucial steps that I also take with my patients. So,
And isn't that beautiful?
yeah,
That different modalities, like coming from different backgrounds, but
yeah,
the guidance is the same because that's
mhm,
what's needed.
yeah, yeah. And there's a notion, you didn't use this word, but there's the notion of armoring, which is
Mhm.
what people do that have had trauma. They kind of armor it in their body and they put protection up. And then
Yeah,
everybody wants to have this higher vibration, but you can't if you're armored.
that's
You have to let
beautiful.
that go. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, yes. And you cannot let that go until you find ways to orientate your body back into safety.
Mhm.
So it's that beautiful journey that we travel with our clients of finding that those tools that work for them to feel safe in their bodies again, so that that armoring can be gently melted away.
Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful. So you have a free gift for our audience, 20-minute guided movement practice. Can you tell us about that?
Of course. So this is kind of a mini taste of what a raindrop movement practice could look like. And it has those three steps that we talked about. So the beginning is slowing down, getting ourselves into that parasympathetic nervous system state. Then we travel up into a deeper inner listening, and then we experience what surrendering to whatever is being received could look like. And it's just a beautiful way to get a sense of what is my body telling me, right? Where am I on that journey of embodiment? And what your body might be telling you is, I am disconnected. I don't feel anything, right? And I just want to name that that's okay. That is okay. Because one thing that I really love about embodied work is our body is teaching us that everything is just information. The body holds two states, and I call these states the state of flow and the state of tension, right? And if you're not feeling anything, it could be that there has been a lot of armoring, there has been a lot of numbing, there has been a lot of trauma that's unprocessed. And so your body protected you by turning you a little bit into a state of ice, right? You don't feel. And again, it's not good or bad, it's just where you are right now.
Mhm.
All of us at a certain point of our life, in a certain period, will have that, where we disconnect for the sake of protecting something that we are not ready to look at, right? So just noticing that and just being able to name that for yourself can be healing already. And then trusting and knowing that your body has a natural desire to return into the state of flow because that is your innate, inherited state. And that if you just keep returning to the practice, slowly that ice will melt because it always does.
Well, that's true. You just warm it up, it'll melt.
Exactly.
So, for those of you on YouTube, it's actually the gift is actually on YouTube, and the link will be down below. If you're listening to the podcast, you can go to her website, raindropmovement.com, raindropmovement.com. And apparently that a link to that is there as well as some other gifts. So if you're on YouTube, I'll have both of those links and you can get all of her other gifts as well. I think I'm going to
Yeah.
check it out myself. It sounds pretty cool.
Oh, please do. It will be lovely. Yes. Thank you,
So, do you
Beverly.
have any closing remarks for our audience?
Uh, I just really feel that where we are today as a collective is a little bit alarming and a little bit alarming, yes. And not to be negative, but really there is a sense of urgency for us to
Mhm.
reconnect,
Yeah.
first and foremost to ourselves, then to each other, then to our planet, because that's again, that's how we are meant to be. We are meant to be in that state of interconnectivity with everything and life itself. And we cannot do that if we continue to practice disconnection, if we continue to practice disembodiment, if we continue to numb ourselves out. And so if you're listening and if you got this far, something tells me that you are aware of that. There's a part of you that knows and feels that. So please just make that step towards feeling more connected to yourself. And body is just always ready. It will always welcome you if you just create space for it.
You know, I've heard it said many times you can't love others until you love yourself, but I think it's what you're talking about goes just as deep. You can't even connect to other people if you're not connected to yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It all starts with us.
Yeah, very good message. Wonderful. It's been great talking to you, Nada. Thank you for being our guest today.
Thank
So
you so
thank
much
you
for having
for,
me.
huh? Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I interrupted you. So thank you all for listening and joining us today. And please be sure to check out Nada's gift for you. And we would appreciate a like and a subscribe to our channel. So remember to be the light you want to see in the world.
Hmm.